Okay, now we have chapter 2, Fire on the Mountain. This chapter started with the coming of the boys from their journey or exploration inside the jungle. Ralph wanted to tell them about what's happened inside the forest. Yes, he closed the conch and asked them to for meeting. Yes, in the meeting, immediately Jack jumped and he told them, "Okay, we have to put all there's importance of an army to protect us." This part annoyed, upset Ralph because he broke up the rules of who use the conch. He told them anyone hold the conch has a right to speak. So he established the rules of the civilization. Yeah. In this meeting also the boys, the little ones, the young boys were crying, yeah, because they saw beastie or there's animals or there's monster inside the jungle. Yes, Ralph told them there's no beast, there's nothing risk inside the jungle, but we it's better to protect us. Even he told them we need a signal fire to attract the passing ships or planes. Yes. Here also Jack jumped again, and he told them, "Okay, let's build fire on the mountain." This part also, of course, here he brought up the rules of speaking. Yes, even these two parts or these events considered as a civilized behavior from Jack. Yes, Jack left and his friends or the cowboys followed him, and then the lieutenant followed him, and Ralph started to maintain the meeting, but he couldn't. All of them they left, so he followed them also with Biggie. Yes. On the mountain, they tried to build the fire on the mountain by using the Biggie's glasses, and they used this part to build this fire. And because they have no idea, there is no experience, they couldn't control the fire, and the fire went out of control. Yes, and burned everything surrounding them. So there is risk behind them, but they couldn't to stop this fire, and the fire went out. The losing fire, even it's the author William Gordon indicates losing fire. It means they losing the hope for back home or back for civilized life. Yes. Here we see the conflict between the Biggie and the boys, all the boys inside the jungle. Okay, here I want to show you the film, and I have explanation or comment on the film. Okay.
In Chapter 2, Ralph, Jack, and Simon return from surveying the island and call a meeting using the conch. Jack says they need an army for hunting pigs. Ralph makes a rule that a boy can only talk if he has the conch. Piggy takes the conch and says no one knows they're on an island, and Ralph agrees and says it could be a long time until they're rescued. Until then, they need to have fun. A younger boy takes the conch, but
Okay, here if you see the boys try to hunt to enjoy their time, but Biggie all the time remind them it's better to walk to build shelter. So all the time annoyed them. So they disrespect him because he was all the time they consider him as the noisy boy. Yeah, there's no harmony, disharmony between them. Okay.
whispers to Piggy, asking what they're going to do about the snake thing or beast he saw. Ralph assures him that there's no such thing, but he insists. Many of the other boys, especially the little ones, start getting anxious. Jack takes the conch and says if there's a snake, they'll kill it. This annoys Ralph. Ralph proposes they make a fire on the mountain for passing ships to see. Excited, the boys rush up the mountain. Piggy makes fun of them to Ralph. The boys gather wood, but can't light a fire. Jack snatches Piggy's glasses off to start it. The fire goes out after raging out of control, and Jack and Piggy have an argument about whether they can keep it going. Ralph suggests that there be a special group in charge of the fire. Jack volunteers as choir boys. As the fire rages, the boys wonder about how they could have done things differently. Piggy and Jack argue. Piggy says there should have been shelters first. Piggy realizes that the boy who mentioned the beast is gone. In this chapter, we can see that the boys are still not ready to understand the fundamentals of society they may have taken for granted. They still see this as a fun adventure, and there are no adults around, so they neglect tasks like building a shelter. The boys are so used to being in an ordered society and accepting certain rules that when they have to follow them, chaos begins to take over. Now, the beast brings out the possibility of fear, and this is foreshadowing for how Jack's leadership will end up working, ruling with fear and killing and violence.
Here, if you see, the chaos started because Jax behaved. Jax followed the chaos things because he was savage. There's violence, or he looking for killing. Yeah, even there's fear behind Jack's behavior. Yes, and opposite of Jack was Piggy. Piggy tried to there's this plane. He want to arrange their lives, build shelter or maintain the fire. Yes, so Piggy and Jack they were opposite each other.
It makes the other people afraid. Jack's assumption of leadership during the meeting foreshadows also that he'll make a grab for power sooner than later. Ralph tries to give the boys what he thinks they need. Jack gives them what they want right then. The boys don't respect Piggy, even though they need him. Piggy's the one thinking the most pragmatically, gives them what they want right.
Right now, it means right now. If you remember, right now, it means that the eight desires. If we consider the sac theory, or how to analyze the sac theory, consider the sac theory. It belongs to I want to my desires or my hope or my wishes now, just now. But the opposite of it was the super ego. It's better to give respect for the situation.
Then, the boys don't respect Piggy, even though they need him. Piggy's the one thinking the most pragmatically, and even though he's the most physically limited of the boys, he's thinking in a more advanced way than any of them. He's the one who suggested the signal fire, but no one listens until Ralph brings it up. Piggy wants to abide by the rules and follow them religiously, creating the fundamentals of society, but Jack wants to use them to exert power or to create hierarchy. We see Jack's true craving for control and being liked by the others here in this chapter.
Okay, here chapter 2 finished with this film. It's clear with the main points. Here I want to back to the questions. What is the benefit of the fire in the story? Why the boys built it on the top of the mountain? Here I want to, because this question maybe came early, it's better to ask this question later after chapter 6 or 7 or something like this. Yes. Why? So why they want to build the fire on the mountain? Of course, you can see because to let the passing ships see the fire and they came to give help. Yeah, right. But God wants to show that the priority of the packing room, yeah, it was the top. They put it on the mountain. Later, if you later, inshallah, we see there is the fire. They built the fire on the beach. It means the fire got lost its importance. There is no priority for the back home. That's it. So fire in this story shows the duality of civilization and savagery. As a civilized uses, the boys used it for rescue as a sign for passing ships and planes. They used it also for cooking. As a civilized people, we cook our food, but as a savage people, we eat the meat, flesh, or not cooking. Yes, who cook his food, and they use it as a light. Light is mean knowledge. If we build fire as a for light, it means we're looking for knowledge, for experience. Yeah. While as a savage uses, the boys used it for destruction when the jungle was burned by them. Even they also used it in dance. Yes, like a hunter, like the savage, like those hunters. They dance around the fire. So it's savage uses in this part. Question number 6. When do you think the boys had followed their savage desires rather than civilized behavior? Yes. If you remember, yes, when Ralph was talking in assembly about the making a signifier to attract passing ships and planes, but Jack immediately jumped to start fire on the mountain, yes, regardless of that speech or Ralph's speech, and everyone rushed after Jack. Yes, if you remember in the text, yes, when was talking Ralph talking, yes, Jack stopped him. He stopped him. He annoyed him. Yes, this part considered as a negative things. Yes, even when he left, all the boys followed him. They left civilized manner and they followed the what savage behave. They followed Jack. Even Ralph couldn't to continue. Even the Ralph couldn't to maintain the meeting. He followed them unwillingly. Yes. In question number 7, yeah. What are the most boys do not sorry? Why are most of the boys do not respect Biggie? Yes. If we describe Biggie's character, yes, he was a chubby boy, fat, physically weak. He got asthma. asthma it mean يعني ربو ما يقدر يتنفس يتعب بسرعة. Yes, chubby, asthma, and he just remind them with the bad things for them, of course, bad things. He remind them how to back home. So he annoyed them. They disrespect him because he remind them with their home. They want to enjoy their time in the jungle. Here, William Golding wants to shed light on the inner illness who leads us to achieve our desires. Biggie stands against these desires and tries to stop them enjoying their times. He usually reminds them about rational things. Yes. In addition, he was a chubby boy and physically weak. I think it's clear. Question number 8. What does it mean that the boys lost their fire? Yeah, when they lost their fire, it means they lost their hope or goal or target to back home. So their priority it went out. I mean priority to back home. It means they lost their willing back home because they found something else keeping them busy from the main target in this deserted island. They fused They fused with savagery and hunting life instead of civilized life. Fuse it mean يعني عشان تسجوا نصحوا with the natural life or with the nature with the jungle and forest. Thank you for the listening for chapter